Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jeff Crane, Tokenize, Puerto Rico, 2024. I'm with Joe. I think, Joe, I saw you in Las Vegas a handful of weeks ago.
I was in LA and Vegas, yeah.
Yeah, you've been a busy guy, man.
Yeah.
So have you been to Puerto Rico before?
No.
It's your first time.
Really excited.
What do you think about it so far?
I love it. I mean, I love the tropical weather. I love the beautiful architecture. Just walking around last night was fabulous. And you know, I have to admit, I grew up in New York, and with all the hyper stockbrokers, I love the Puerto Ricans kind of chilled everybody out. So I always loved the music. And as a music producer, I've worked with a lot of different artists. So I love Latin music too.
Yeah, which is funny because you had an awesome, because you came here to speak, amongst other things, and you just got done speaking. And as I was walking in, literally looking for you, didn't realize you were on stage to have you come here, I heard you say Twisted Sister, and I remember in high school, 86, 87, 85, listening to that music, We're Not Gonna Take It. Dude, those were the days.
Yeah.
So you've been in the music industry for quite some time. Tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. So when I was 14, I was, came from a big family, and my parents, we joke we were raised by wolves because my parents just were like, come home at some point. So at 14, I started working at the club, and some of the local acts were 19-year-old Pat Benatar and 5 guys in drag called Twisted Sister. And then more importantly, there were some local bands like the Good Rats, who are one of the greatest bands of all time, but it was a really robust music scene, which unfortunately we don't have today anymore. But I started to work just, setting up equipment. And then after producing my first shows in high school, I went off to college in Amherst, Massachusetts, and I got a chance to work with a couple of unknown bands at the time from Seattle, and one of them ended up being Soundgarden.
Wow.
And that started about a 35-year friendship with Chris Cornell, and I got to work with him right up until his death. For over the years, I got the chance to work with small acts from, B.B. King and John Hyatt, and then I really, one of the things I was thinking about a new business is I wanted to curate. I didn't have a rich dad that got me a job at Capitol Records. So I started my company with no money, and I had a bit of a knack for finding talent. So I worked with a young Alison Krauss when she was 17 years old, took her from 300 seats to 10,000 seats. Wow. A young Australian kid named Keith Urban, took him from paying him $200 to selling out arenas at 15,000 seats. A young kid named Marshall Mathers, worked with Eminem, and then Eminem introduced me to his protege, 50 Cent. And then worked with Beyonce, Jay-Z, Van Halen, all the biggest things.
And you did what did you do specifically?
I was their promoter. So the idea of the promoter, when somebody says, oh, I'm the Puerto Rican rep for Live Nation, did not really do anything. They're a secretary. But what I did was soup to nuts, come up with a concept for the show. And the case was I worked with Beyonce. We had a newspaper in Lagos, Nigeria, and I said to my wife, these people want to do a concert in Lagos, Nigeria. She said, that sounds dangerous. And I said, well, I'm from New York, so it doesn't get much more dangerous than New York. But anyway, we brought in Beyonce, Jay-Z, Snoop Dogg, Sierra, Missy Elliott, Busta Rhymes, and En Vogue. We did a $10 million show in Apollo Grounds in Western Africa. But it was really that soup to nuts, coming up with the idea, booking all the talent, doing all the production, all the marketing, all the ticket sales, all the catering. And so we did the same thing in Tobago, bringing in Elton John, Diana Ross, Mary J. Blige. Same thing in Provence, France, with bringing in Ahmad Jamal and Ricky Lee Jones in a Roman amphitheater. So, I've always been excited. I came to Puerto Rico because I want to see the world. I want to meet people, and I don't just want to meet the wealthiest people. I want to meet the regular people. Sure. So I was invited to go to Russia in 1992 for their first democratic election. And I was really excited to meet the artists and go into homes of people that were poor. They wanted to connect. You asked a really interesting question earlier about why do you do this? What is the soul of this thing?
Yeah.
And for me, when I work with an artist like Bob Dylan or Jackson Brown, they bring me to tears with their work. It's so powerful. And so I really love when we can discover, a young Pink, an artist like that who's so powerful, such a great performer, and really be on that journey with them. And then secondly, I've done a lot of work in the recovery world, and I've kind of merged taking somebody like a Moby, who's an animal rights vegan person in recovery, and doing fundraisers to support alcohol and drug abuse. And also coming out of COVID, we have so much mental health problems with anxiety and depression. So with our social AI, we've been working on really trying to help these mental health clinics where how can we reach more people more cheaply and on a more sustained basis. 28 days in a rehab does not cure anybody, but changing your life over the course of a year, 10 years, 30 years, that's a whole very it's a complicated thing.
Well, I'm glad you brought up social AI. So in a nutshell, in an elevator, 90-second elevator pitch, tell us what social AI does and
Sure.
what's it for?
Yeah. So, when COVID hit and all the concerts stopped, we started to look at NFTs and the metaverse. And honestly, I wasn't that interested. I tried to be, but I was just like, building an online metaverse mall.
You probably wouldn't like
It
it.
didn't mean anything.
Yeah.
But social AI was something we said, what if we could take AI assistants and marry them with cryptocurrency and really do something special? So we started to build this out about 3 years ago. And the other thing is, you'll be at a conference and someone will say, I took this thing off the shelf and I married it with this thing. We have this great company. We didn't do that. We have a lot of developers. We built something from the ground up so that we have IP, And as we built this thing out, Social AI now is offering the companies the ability to bring on our customizable AI assistants. It helps them with their whole sales process, from taking incoming calls, outgoing calls, scheduling appointments, and completing that whole sales process for like a real estate company or doctor's office. So that's mainly what we're doing. It also does language translation. We have secure wallet. So the whole thing is set up to be, again, a real business. And we have $28 million worth of contracts in our pipeline.
Wow.
So this isn't like, I had an idea, I'm trying to launch a meme coin. This is a real...
Now, are you running this?
Yeah.
And do you have a team? And where's your team, or is they pretty much everywhere?
So I'm based out of Carmel, California.
Okay.
And one thing I love about that, not only am I out in the woods in beautiful Northern California, but we're in the shadow of Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
So if you took, let's say you invented Norton antivirus, you take them public, take your $100 million, you buy a house in Pebble Beach or Carmel.
Right.
So most of my friends out there are older guys that, took LinkedIn public or Snapchat public, and they've been great mentors as we've been on this journey. So, but we have the CFO is in Portland, and then we have a development team. A lot of them are in Australia. We have about 60 developers that are based out of Thailand and Australia.
So 2 more questions, Joe, because this is a shorter interview and it's been fascinating. And I'm sure you guys have been fascinating as well. 2 questions. First of all, what is your ask while you're here?
Yep.
What is it you're looking for? And will you be coming back in February to Puerto Rico when we do another Tokenize?
Definitely. I'd love to come back. So our ask is we have an $8 million safe round. We've already raised $4 million of that. So we're looking to raise the remaining $4 million, and that would give the investor equity in the company and a token side letter. We're launching our token at the end of January. And we've been really excited to work with people like Michael Turpin came on board as an advisor, but also Mario Knopfel, who's become huge on X, Wahid Chamas of the IBC Group, and people like that are really going to help us to blow up this token launch in January. And of course, with the inauguration of a new president and such a crypto-friendly Secretary of the Treasury and everything, we're excited for what's about.
So you're going to be launching a token.
Yeah.
Are you able to say what that's called?
It's called the Social AI Token, or the SAI token.
Okay. And that's going to be in January?
Yes.
And what platform, or where are you going to have that?
Yeah, so we're really working on some of this, but we're working with Gaines, and the IBC Group is, a big part of our backing. But we're putting all the pieces of that together, getting all the KOLs and everything on board. But we'll have more information about that coming out in the next couple of weeks. But again, Wahid Chamas and some of these guys are deep into these launches. So we've been strategizing and work with them over the last year, and we're excited to have a very big launch. Mario Knopfel is looking at about a 200,000 person live stream on his X space. And, he just interviewed Michael last week.
Yeah.
Some of the big guys that are here. So we're really excited about it.
Well, it's going to be exciting, ladies and gentlemen, because in 2025, you'll be unrolling this, and in February, we'll be able to see what's going on.
100%.
Joe, it was such a pleasure to meet you. It's good to see you. I saw you in Vegas. I'm like, man, this is going to be a great opportunity.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you guys. Yeah.